After nearly 3 decades, Gregg Popovich is no longer the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. Just saying that doesn't feel real. This is the guy who's been with the Spurs longer than most NBA franchises have kept entire rosters intact. But now, he's stepping away from the bench, forever. This wasn't some clean retirement. This wasn't part of a planned farewell tour. This came after something far more serious and way more heartbreaking. Back in November of 2024, Popovich suffered a stroke. Just 2 days later, he announced he was stepping away indefinitely. The team elevated Mitch Johnson, one of his longtime assistants, to interim head coach. At the time, fans were hopeful he'd return, but months passed, and eventually the announcement came. Pop would not return to coaching. Instead, he'd transition full-time to his front office role as team president. For the first time since 1996, the Spurs have a new head coach, and for the first time in decades, the NBA feels different. Gregg Popovich isn't just some coach who won a few titles. He is Spurs basketball. 5 NBA championships, over 1,300 wins, the most in league history. He took a small market team in San Antonio and turned it into a dynasty. All while doing it his way, with loyalty, discipline, and a system that just worked. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, he just won. He built around Tim Duncan, created a motion offense that prioritized ball movement over egos, and developed international talent years before it was trendy. Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard, all brought in and shaped by Pop's vision. And it worked. For 2 decades straight, the Spurs were the most consistent force in the league. But then came the injury that changed everything. In 2017, during a playoff run against the Warriors, Kawhi Leonard went down. What followed was a total collapse in the relationship between Kawhi and the franchise. The trust was gone. The team that once looked unstoppable suddenly fell apart. Pop tried to patch things up by trading for DeMar DeRozan, but it wasn't enough. They made the playoffs in 2018 and 2019, but barely. And then the drought began. 6 straight years without making the postseason. But even through the losing, Popovich stayed. And then came Victor Wembanyama. In 2023, the Spurs won the lottery and drafted the most hyped prospect since LeBron. Pop signed a new 5-year deal. The rebuild had direction again. This wasn't just hope. This felt like destiny. The Spurs doubled down. They drafted Stephon Castle, who'd go on to win Rookie of the Year. They traded for De'Aaron Fox, added depth, and kept their draft capital stocked. On paper, the Spurs were loaded with talent and flexibility. They were finally ready to win again. But life had other plans. Pop's stroke in November was a turning point. He stepped back and Mitch Johnson took the reins. Months later, the decision was official. Pop wasn't coming back. Not as a coach. And now, everything is changing. Mitch Johnson isn't just some random assistant. He's been learning under Pop for a decade. The Spurs didn't hire an outsider, they kept it in the family. R.C. Buford is still running the front office. Brian Wright is still the GM. Continuity is the key. They're doing what Boston did with Brad Stevens, keeping the vision intact while allowing a new voice to lead. Meanwhile, the rest of the NBA is a coaching carousel. The Lakers fired Darvin Ham and hired J.J. Redick, who somehow coached them to a 3rd seed. Even after a rough playoff exit, Redick is safe. Denver shockingly let go of Michael Malone right after the season ended. And now, Nikola Jokic might as well be the head coach. Clips of him literally calling plays on the sidelines have gone viral. Then there's Memphis, who fired Taylor Jenkins with 10 games left, only to promote Thomas Lasallo, now the league's first Finnish-born head coach. It's chaos, but in San Antonio, there's a plan. Pop may not be on the bench, but he's still running the show. As team president, he's responsible for trades, roster decisions, and the long-term vision. He won't be drawing up plays anymore, but he's still shaping the Spurs' future. And if Victor Wembanyama comes back healthy after his health scare with blood clots, there's no reason to believe this team can't win now. They have cap space, they have young talent, they have draft picks, and they have a system built by the greatest coach of all time. But even with all that optimism, it's hard to ignore what we've lost. Gregg Popovich coached through multiple eras, mentored legends, and never once chased headlines. He was loyal to the game, to his players, and to his principles. And now, just as the rebuild was about to pay off, he's stepping away. He'll still be there, sure, but it's not the same. The sideline will feel different. The press conferences won't be the same. The NBA lost something bigger than a coach. It lost one of its final links to a generation built on respect, grit, and consistency. Pop's not gone. But the era is. Let me ask you this. Do you think Mitch Johnson can carry the torch? Can the Spurs turn this new chapter into another dynasty? Or did San Antonio's window close before it could even open? Let me know in the comments. This is one of the most emotional transitions we've seen in NBA history. One legend steps back, and a new story begins.